Hey, what's up and welcome everyone to another Warzone video. In today's video, we're going to be going over the patch notes that just dropped. Some massive weapon changes are coming to the game, not to mention some attachment changes that are going to completely change the way that Warzone is played. If you want to catch this information first, make sure to subscribe on today's video. Drop a like if you enjoy these types of videos. And for the astute observers in the community, you might notice the backdrop has changed. If you follow me over on Twitch, you know what's going on. If you're new to the community, I don't talk about it much. I don't like to bring it up just because I don't want it to, well, be a front runner of my channel. I want you to focus on my content, focus on the academy, focus on the news, focus on the gameplay. But I haven't uploaded for the last week because I've been moving from Vegas to Texas. I've been stationed at a new unit. For those of you who don't know or don't remember, I am still active duty military. Got the beard because I've been on leave, but I'll have to shave that off here pretty soon. So sorry on the delay. That's why I've been gone for a week, but we are newly set up down in Texas. I've got everything ready to go. And without further ado, I'm ready to go on these patch notes. So Call of Duty Warzone Season 3 patch notes. Expect an explosive impact of Freon content, blah, blah, blah. We've already talked about all of it before. We're talking about the May 7th update that just dropped. Gameplay. And I can tell you right off the back, ladies and gents, I already love this patch notes. I'll make it a little bit bigger for the people on mobile to see. It's fantastic. Loot spawns across both Verdansk and Rebirth Island have been adjusted as follows. Street Sweeper. Common variant removed from ground loot. Uncommon, removed. Rare, removed from supply boxes. Epic, removed from supply boxes. This is the first time that I think I have ever seen Raven remove anything from the ground loot. It didn't matter whether it was the R09, the Broken Foul, the Broken Origin, and I'm sure you guys can think of some broken ground loot in the past that just really ruined some early game situations. And then even after you got your loadout and you're cruising, everything is going great. Oh, that guy just landed back in. Go, 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 go. And you walk in and he has, you know, something that can completely decimate your entire team, or at the very least take out one of you and fully thirst you. That was the Street Sweeper. It's not a fun... It's not a fun game mechanic, not a fun gun. And it has been completely removed from all of the ground loot. Huge thank you to Raven for that one. I didn't think they had it in them, but they got it done. But it looks like they've replaced it with the Hauer, which is the semi-automatic, or not the semi-automatic, the pump-action shotgun from Cold War. The common variant has been added to the ground loot. The uncommon has been added to the ground loot. Excuse me, it's the morning. And a rare variant has been added to supply boxes. I think it's a great change. The Hauer, if you have great movement, like we've seen some insane clips from my buddies like Joe Woe and Exact, it really pays off with good movement, good finessing in and out of corners, but it's not just aim down sight and spam like it is with Street Sweeper. They say the Street Sweeper's wide availability fostered a dynamic where passive play was incentivized and rewarded. We do not think this type of play is particularly compelling for either party when players do not have the necessary tools in the early game to effectively counter it. Exactly that. How many times have you heard the of them reloading and you know you're going to die? It's just too tough to counter. Bug fixes. They fixed additional map locations in Verdansk that allows players to reach out-of-bounds areas. This is on top of the locations that they already addressed last week. So they're working hard on that. They're constantly asking on Twitter for people to post clips of how to get into them, and they're on top of it. It's frustrating for us, but it's a new map, and I really think they're doing a great job of addressing it. They fixed the bug causing player models to initially load as low resolution at the start of the BR match. The polygons at the beginning of the BR match, they fixed that. They fixed the bug with the Cold War AK-47, the FARA 83, XM4, and RPD, where they were having ADS move speed and firing move speeds decreased with the tactical and SAS combat speed stocks rather than increased. I actually wasn't tracking anything on this because I always thought these moved exceptionally fast because they're saying that the ADS speed and firing move speed was decreased. We're going to get into some of that later, but I always thought these guns were zooming. But it looks like that has changed as well. Weapons. A little bit of a preface here. So, we would like to preface the following weapon changes by providing you with some insight on our thought process. There are millions of you, and when we reduce the effectiveness of a weapon, we are bound to make change to someone's favorite gun. As players of this game ourselves, it pains us just as much. However, we remain torn. We are the custodians of this game. We make it for you. In the same light, we are charged with maintaining the health and integrity of the game. In some instances, this requires us to reduce the effectiveness of some universally cherished weapons. Amax. When we make the change like this, our intent is the promotion of diversity. We believe what makes this game truly engaging is choice. I agree. When we diminish that choice, we take away the agency to play the game in your way. This can happen when when a weapon becomes so effective that simply not utilizing it puts you at a disadvantage. Now, this is one of the conversations we've had in the past about metas and how ideally there isn't a meta. You know, maybe there is, but it's just by a hair. But right now, there are some guns that are a little bit too dominant, like the tac rifle meta, like the Bruin meta, and right now, the amax meta. With that being said, we feel we are close to a balanced homeostasis, where most options are at the very least viable, which leads us to address time to kill. The following balance changes are part of ongoing efforts to raise TTK, or at least the individual skill required to reach extreme ones. This is something I've been asking for an entire year. Longer time to kill gives you more time in gunfights. It gives you more time to finesse. It increases the skill gap, and it actually allows you to react. Because when you die so exceptionally fast, it doesn't even feel like you were part of a gunfight, and you just get beamed off the map. We ask that you consider these changes not as targeted attacks, but rather as part of larger initiatives to raise the skill ceiling. Oh my God, they're making the right changes, ladies and gentlemen. Just gonna ask if you're enjoying these patch notes so far, do me a favor. A lot of people watch these videos. If you can do me a massive favor and destroy the like button on this video. A lot of people are making patch notes videos, and if you're just as excited as I am, make sure to drop a like on today's video. We want to give you the runaway and the platform to show us your epic plays and proudest moments. We hope your journey of mastery yes, we hope that your journey of mastery brings you as much enjoyment as it does us. That's amazing. The game's been out for a year. We've passed the point of being super friendly. This game should still be beginner friendly. Should not be impossible to play for casual players. But let's raise TTK a bit. Raise the skill ceiling. Let's show us the finesse. I'm done getting shot in the back and dead before I can even react. And these are the weapons that we're going to be changing in today's video. Amax, nerf. Fara, nerf. Street sweeper, nerf. Bullfrog, and a ppsh buff. I really like this. These panels are nice. This is new. They haven't done this before. This is new. I like this. Assault rifles. Amy. The CR56 AMAX minimum damage decreased from 32 to 31. Now, minimum damage is basically at its maximum range when a bullet hits. What is the damage it's going to do? So you can still do a maximum damage that's higher. Your headshot damage can still be higher. But it explains it here as well. With a great damage profile, locational multipliers, and manageable recoil, the CR56 AMAX was able to reliably reach time to kills at long range. This change reduces its fastest minimum TTK by about 17%. In addition to its slowest minimum TTK by an additional shot. Its fastest maximum damage TTK, however, remains intact, which is a risk we feel is equal to the reward considering how unforgiving its rate of fire is and how many other weapons it has to contest with in the mid-range engagement space. The CR56 AMAX is just a tad more dominant than we would like, and with this change, our aim is to widen the selection of viable long-range assault rifles. Now, we've talked about this in the past. I always brag about how the AMAX absolutely shoots cinder blocks at range. This kind of fixes that problem. It's still going to be just as viable in the mid-range. The people that are running the AMAX as a no-stock or, a short range, let's say I've seen a lot of people running iron sights. Iron sight no-stock as a supplement to a sniper. So the AMAX is still going to absolutely slap at the close range. But like they say, the fire rate is much slower. So if you're missing those bullets in close range engagements, it's going to cost you. At long range, however, about a 17% nerf, which I think is great. You can get absolutely clapped by the AMAX from range. This doesn't seem like it's going to be a massive nerf. The AMAX is still very viable. Which is where they're at for talking about reaching that homeostasis. They are just in the point of reaching that middle ground. So seems like a nerf, but only really to the long range where tac rifles and snipers should be viable, and the AMAX now is a little bit less viable. The FARA 83 headshot multiplier decreased from 1.5 to 1.35. That's disappointing because one headshot in the FARA allowed it to beat pretty much every SMG. I've been running the FARA as my SMG. And the base aim down sight move speed decreased by 7%. So they're going to make it more like an AR instead of an SMG, and I'm sure that's what they're going to talk about here. When combined with mobility-based stock, the FARA 83 was capable of reaching exceedingly fast aim-down sight firing speeds. We like how the FARA 83 plays, but it is a bit too versatile currently. As part of our efforts to increase overall time to kill, we are reducing the FARA's fastest time to kill by 16.6% to compensate for its generous rate of fire and recoil control. I think that's fair. I want to get back into an SMG meta, and it really makes sense. The FARA 83 was making it a double AR meta. We're going to have to see if it really killed that possibility, but with reducing the movement speed, the base and outside movement speed, this isn't talking about attachments we're going to talk about later. Looks like that's going to be a pretty fat nerf for the FARA 83. Shotguns. The Street Sweeper base hip fire spread is increased, so that means the pellet spread is going to increase as well. The recoil has been increased slightly, so you're going to fall off target as you're spamming, and the ADS speed was reduced slightly as well. The aim down sight speed allows you to tighten your bullet spread. If you've never noticed, firing a shotgun hip fire and then fire right next to it with aiming down sight, it actually chokes, which makes absolutely zero sense, but that's the way the mechanic works, and I think it's actually pretty balanced that it works that way. So they're making it tougher to get that choke effect. While shotguns tend to have limited viability outside of early game, we find the Street Sweeper is a tad too effective given its rate of fire, ammo capacity when compared to weapons of its class. This change will decrease its lethal range slightly, punish inaccurate sustained fire, and give a little bit more time to react. That's all we ask. Seems like it's going to be a pretty healthy nerf, and I'm glad to see it. Submachine gun, the Bullfrog. The maximum damage has been decreased from 34 to 32. Keep in mind, they said this was going to be kind of in between. They're touching it, nerfing it in some ways, buffing it in other. The maximum damage range, however, has been increased by 11%. The base movement speed has been increased by 1%, and the sprint out speed has been increased by 13%. So they nerfed the individual damage of the gun, but they gave it better range, and you're moving faster with it, and you're sprinting out even quicker, so the gun's going to feel even snappier. The Bullfrog's exceptional headshot multiplier has allowed it to reach one of the fastest time to kills in the game. While this change does not directly affect the multiplier, it does diminish its output. This change reduces the Bullfrog's ability to consistently achieve extreme TTKs while not removing it entirely. We felt it was too easy to consistently reduce the TTK at these ranges, so we are asking for a bit more accuracy in exchange for the Bullfrog's attractive stat line. We are hesitant to label this as an outright nerf, as we believe there is more value added to this weapon than damage alone. Frankly, I would agree. I like the fact that it's added more range, because I felt like it wasn't as viable as the double AR meta that we've been used to running. And the fact that it's a little bit more mobile, considering ARs before this had been, like the FARA, had been moving so fast, it didn't make sense to run SMGs, and I'm really excited. I feel like this could be the new meta, especially with rewards with the headshots. They also buffed the ppsh. The maximum damage increased, so once again increasing damage range by 4%, and the open bolt delay decreased by 80. That's the time whenever you press the old Uzi for Modern Warfare had that as well. That's whenever you press it, the bolt has to open and then it'll fire. That delay has been decreased by 80%, so basically non-existent. We would like to push SMGs into different and interesting directions and distinguish them from one another. Ideally, we are providing a myriad of options within each weapon category that are supplementary to a multitude of diverse playstyles. In that vein, we are going to push the ppsh 41's identity in a way that continues to diversify its competition in meaningful ways. To us, the ppsh is the quick-to-fire, high-capacity, short to mid-range SMG. Not every weapon needs to have the highest TTK potential, but every weapon should at least feel viable and have that niche where it excels given a complementary playstyle. So to me, this kind of makes it sound like it's going to be more along the lines of, let's say, an MP7 or a P90, where it's going to have a lot of bullets to kill, but very minimal recoil, very controllable recoil, and a really fast fire speed. So the open bolt delay will help out with that, and then helping out with the range will help out a little bit. I used the ppsh when it first launched, and I was pretty impressed with it. But that was only really when I had the drop on people. The damage profile is still a little weak for me, but this open bolt delay should help it feel like I'm killing a little bit quicker. And here's where some things really get crazy. Attachments. Barrels. The Combat Recon barrel for snipers, for Cold War snipers, has been pretty underwhelming. So they have increased the multiplier by 12%. So bullet velocity is going to increase for Cold War snipers. The ADS idle sway multiplier decreased by 33%. I thought Cold War snipers shook like crazy, so they've decreased that as well, which is going to be amazing. And they say as we continue to assess the place of Cold War snipers within Warzone, we realize there is much work to be done. In addition to improving the overall efficacy of these weapons and attachments, we are we will also be taking a close look at their optics. This includes addressing attachment pros where there are few, if any, use cases. In specific, we may see Cold War equivalent to an immensely popular Modern Warfare sniper attachment very soon. Listen to that. In specific, we may see a Cold War equivalent to an immensely popular Modern Warfare sniper attachment very soon. The only two ones that I can think of that Cold War does not have that Modern Warfare does, first off top of my list, I think TAC laser. Give me something that allows me to aim down sight quicker so we can actually have Cold War sniper rifles that feel a little bit, I don't want to say quick scopey because I'm kind of frustrated with how powerful the Kar 98 is. But aim down sight faster with guns like the Tundra. Just feels a little bit too slow. Or it could be something like Focus, which allows you not to get flinched as hard, and maybe a couple other ones, but I think it's going to be a TAC laser equivalent. Optics. The Axial Arm 3x Cold War AK-7, the optic behavior has been improved. If you ever pick that one up off the ground, there are, I think, 3 variants of it in the ground loot, and it's just absolutely shaking, so hopefully it's not as jarring whenever you shoot it. Stocks. So there are a lot of stocks here. I'm going to run through these really quick. The Raider and Skeletal stock. So here's the general trend. ADS firing move speed reduced by 75%. Multiplier. The multiplier has been reduced. And the ADS firing speed move speed has been decreased by 10. So ADS firing speed, that's whenever you're aiming down sight and you start shooting. You'll notice with the FARA, when you're aiming down sight and you're strafing, you're kind of moving, but the second you start shooting, you can actually zoom around corners and it allows you to like clear corners while pre-firing. It's insane. That has been reduced by 75% for the Raider Skeletal stock. The ADS move speed, so your base aim down sight moving speed, has been decreased as well by 10%. This is for assault rifles, LMGs, shotguns, and snipers. Now, the Raider stock for the submachine guns, they're not nerfing it as hard, but it is still 50% and still 10%. And this trend stays along the same way. SAS combat stock, for assault rifles, LMGs, and shotguns, it's nerfed heavy by 75%. For submachine guns, not as hard, but it still is nerfed by 50%. Tactical stocks as well, they have decreased it. ADS move speed decreased by 75%. This should be moved over. ADS move speed decreased by 50% for SMGs. They say it is crucial that we maintain an engagement space where each weapon can excel, lest we risk guns becoming analogous. In that regard, some weapon types were able to elude mobility as a core weakness given the right attachments. We believe this is in part why assault rifles have been able to assume the role of submachine guns. It's been a 2 AR meta for a while. While it is a priority for us to maintain and embrace gameplay differences between Modern Warfare and Cold War guns, we felt movement speed modifiers in their current state would undermine gameplay integrity and overall weapon diversity if left unchecked. These stocks are still a solid choice, even with the substantial reduction, which we believe speaks to how strong they were. They were insane. That's why people were running XM4s, Cold War AKs, FARA 83s as secondaries rather than guns like the Bullfrog, LC10, MAC-10, ppsh. So we are hopefully going to see a double AR meta go away, but still viable, let's say, to run a FARA 83 as a secondary if you're running a sniper, because you still need that mid-range cover that a SMG can't cover. And then finally, we would like to address concerns that we are only going to be addressing weapon changes or making weapon changes to Cold War weapons. In the future, we fully intend to take a closer look at some Modern Warfare weapons that have been struggling. And as always, please continue to share your feedback. We are always listening. So they've been making a lot of Cold War adjustments because the Cold War guns have really changed up the meta, but they are kind of reaching that point of a really solid meta. The best meta I think we've ever seen. And they're going to start making some fine-tuning to Modern Warfare as well. But ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the patch notes. If you keep scrolling on, it's going to go on to the previous update, but that wraps up everything for the Season 3 patch notes. And I frankly am thrilled with it. I don't think I've ever read through patch notes and been so thrilled with them before, but this is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I could not be more happy with the changes they're making to raise the skill gap. They specifically said raise the skill ceiling, increase the time to kill, and bring back the SMG meta. Buff snipers a little bit as well, nerf the street sweeper, pull the street sweeper off the ground loot, which they have never done. I've never seen them remove a gun from the ground loot pool for the past year. I can't remember it ever happening. But I'm super thrilled with this video. If you enjoyed me reading through this, we got a lot of gameplay on this channel, a lot of gameplay guides. We have the Warzone Academy that helps players get better at Warzone. If you enjoyed anything in this video, make sure to subscribe and check out more. Please do me a favor and drop a like if you haven't already. We haven't posted for a week because of the big move, so it really help out in the algorithm. And make sure to catch me live over on Twitch. We're playing in a lot of tournaments recently, and we are killing it. So yeah, things are on the up and up. Ladies and gents, hope you enjoyed today's video. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.